Hi, this video is about journalizing journal entries using the general journal form. This video will explain to the students how to take the information from the analyzing chart and then record it on the general journal form. So what's important for students to know about using the general journal form is the steps required for journalizing. So students like to take shortcuts when it comes to writing journal entries, and you want to make sure you prevent that. You want them to practice the process, the steps, the way they should go, so that when the test comes and they ask them what was first, what comes second, so and so entered the date, what comes next, they just entered the debit amount, what was the previous step. They'll be able to answer that because they would have been practicing that the proper way. Okay, so below here is the analyzing chart that we completed in a previous step. So we're going to use this information to complete a general journal form. So the first thing you want to make sure you illustrate to the kids is that the general journal is a form. It is where we record journal entries. Recording journal entries is very important. That's important accounting language, that we record journal entries. So we're going to record this first journal entry onto the form. So the only thing they need from the analyzing chart from this process is the last part where they need to know what accounts do we debit and do we credit. So we have the date, which is January 1st. We always do the debit account first. In this case, it was cash. Now the transactions will have amounts. So what you want to make sure is that the students know what the amounts are when they do this. So they will have done the analyzing chart, but we don't put the amounts in the analyzing chart. They'll pull the amounts from the problem, whatever the amount was in the problem. So in this case, the amount was $2,000. So they'll have document numbers here. So the transactions will give them the document numbers. In this case, the document was a receipt. So they will write R1. The post reference is blank at this stage in the process. R1 is the receipt and the receipt number from the source document. And most of the time in the blue transactions, this information is in the problem. So we are recording the transaction from page 62 in the textbook, post reference. So then we'll debit the cash account for $2,000. So then we go to the credit. So we want to make sure that they indent the credit account. In this case, it is the capital account. The capital account. We only put the document number on the row with the debit. We only put the date on the row with the debit. On the credit row, we only put the credit account and the credit amounts. And this journal entry is recorded. So if we do the next one, which is on page 63, paid cash for supplies, $165, and that was a check number one. So we'll draw a line. And this took place on January the 2nd. And our debit account was supplies. It was a check, so we write C1 because the book says it was check number one. The post reference is blank, and it was for $165. Then the credit account was cash, so we indent the cash. Date is blank. Document number is blank. $165. So in the general journal form in the textbook, it is very important that you stress to the kids how to fill in the boxes because they don't realize the last box to the far right is for change. So they have to know they must put like all the change in that last box. So if it's 50 cents, they'll put 50 cents and then it's ones, tens, hundreds, and the first box are all the thousands and above. So I have to break that down to them because sometimes they'll fill the boxes in wrong, which would lead to the wrong answer. Okay, so that is how we do the general journal form. We must let the kids know that this is step 3 in the accounting cycle. So at this point, the students are learning the accounting cycle and the general journal form, also known as GJ for general journal. I stress that to them. We abbreviate general journal with GJ. It'll be written like that in some of the problems. So I start using that a lot. GJ, General Journal. The process of writing the information into the form is journalizing. When we fill out the General Journal form, we are journalizing a transaction. When we fill out the analyzing chart, we are analyzing a transaction. Okay, that is journalizing the transaction.